We'll all face up and downs in our unique relationships, but sometimes relationships can go pretty bad. The question is, how far are we willing to go to save a certain relationship? How far should we go? When is it a right time to step back and go, I don't want to fight for this anymore? And is that a bad thing? Hey everybody, today let's talk about how do we know a relationship is worth saving? Well, the first thing we got to ask yourself is, what does this relationship mean to you? How much time have you invested? What do you believe you gain out of this relationship? And when I say gain, I don't mean in monetary value. I don't mean in, they've done things for you, tangibles necessarily, but it might be in terms of humor, kindness, love, support, honest conversations. What have you gained from this relationship? As we go throughout life and we grow, how has this relationship added to your growth? Has it been in a positive light or a negative light? Has it added unnecessary stressors, headaches? Has it made seemingly benign situations really, really stressful or harder than it should have been? This is the first thing to think about in terms of a relationship. How has this relationship made me feel over time? A second thing to notice is this a personal relationship or a professional relationship? If it's professional, we got to think about, if I cut ties with this individual, will it impact my career? Will it impact me in the workplace? Will it make it harder for me to go? Are they in a position of power? Are we equals? Can we still work together? Can we end it in a friendly way? And if it's personal, you've got to think, well, is this a parent? Is this a roommate? Is this someone who I live with that I have to see every day? Is this someone who we have mutual friends with? Like, that's something I hear a lot. When two people's friendship starts to fall out, but they're in a group of friends with like 3 other people. So does that mean people are going to start taking sides? Is there going to be an agreement that we're still going to go to the friend group, we're just not going to bring it up again? So depending on these contexts, it's going to play a huge role in, do you want to save this relationship? Another thing to consider is, how often are you arguing or fighting or butting heads? There's certainly this idea in romantic relationships that you should never fight with your partner. You should never argue. I don't believe that's the case. And I know that the Gottman Institute doesn't either. That, you got to have arguments every once in a while. Certain conflicts are unavoidable. And yet, if you're having conflicts or arguments every day or every other day, and they seem to be frequent, or the severity and the intensity of them are getting out of control, there's a point we have to take a step back and go, I value this relationship, but something happened where we're arguing more than normal. And the arguments are making me feel stressed or sad or drained, right? I used to be excited seeing this person, but now I feel anxious because when I think about hanging out with them, I think about the arguments that we've had, the argument that we could have. Now I'm overthinking. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen the overthinking video, check it out. Now I'm overthinking. And then I hang out with this person and I feel drained afterwards. But they're a good person. They're kind. They were at my mother's funeral. They did all these things that were really, really kind. Maybe I'm indebted to them. Maybe I owe them something. Am I a bad friend for wanting to turn away? The last thing that's important to know, if you want to try to recognize if a relationship is worth saving, is, are both parties trying to resolve it? One of the problems with couples therapy, let's say, is if a couple goes to therapy, the hope is that both parties involved want to put an effort to repair or to smooth things out, if you will. The tricky thing becomes when there's 2 people who were friends, one of them is trying to save the relationship while the other one isn't putting in any effort. Right? So what do we do about that? Because there's certain TV shows where even if one person isn't putting in the effort, the other person puts in a crazy amount of effort, even if they're told no over and over and over again. We look at them and we go, oh, they're driven. They're so committed. They're so loving. But the question becomes, when is enough enough? How far do you pursue someone if the other person doesn't look interested in saving the relationship? How much effort is it appropriate for you to put in? So the real question becomes, is your relationship worth saving? It depends. It depends on all those factors stated. It depends. Is this a boss? Is this a coworker? How long have you known them for? How do they make you feel? What is the time that you've invested? Are they putting in effort to try to make this work? And how much effort are you putting in? Is it being reciprocated? Is it being noticed? What do you value in this relationship? And if it were gone, what would you miss? Like, if you stopped seeing this person, would your first thought be, okay, at least no more unnecessary stress? Or would it be, you know what, they did this thing that really made me upset, but overall as a human being, I really enjoyed having them around. And the reality of the fact is, this sounds crazy, but it could be both answers. Because topics like this are so nuanced, and you're going to hear so many videos and people telling you it's either black and white. I don't think that's the case. But the factors that I mentioned today are extremely important that we think about when we look at relationships and if we want to save them. I hope that today's video helped you think about it, a couple of extra factors to keep in mind. As always, folks, thank you very much for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.